Okay, we're going to start talking about section 2.6 in the algebra textbook. It's finding rational zeros. Example 2 wants us to find all zeros. First, let's talk about possible zeros. You take your leading coefficient, which is a 1, and your last number, which is 20. So, if I was to put the 20 over the 1, what would I have? 20. Can you list factors of 20? How would I get 20? 20 times 1, negative 20 times negative 1. 10 times 2, negative 10 times negative 2. 3 does not go into 20. Does 4? 5 times 4, negative 5 times negative 4. What else? Does 6 go into 20? Does 7 go into 20? Does 8 go into 20? Does 9 go into 20? But now 10 does go into 20, right? So basically, you list all the factors of your last term divided by your first coefficient. So the possible zeros are positive negative 20, positive negative 10, positive negative 5, positive negative 4, positive negative 2, positive negative 1. All of those are the possible zeros. Now, to find the ones that work, it's kind of a matter of trial and error. I will make a suggestion. Start with the smaller numbers. Most people aren't all that creative, and it's probably going to have one smaller number as a zero. So I'm going to try it. Bring down my coefficients since I know I have all powers represented in decreasing terms. And first I might try 1. So if I tried a 1, bring the first number down, multiply, put it here, and add. Multiply, put it here. That'd be a negative 7, add. 1 times 4 is 4. Does this add to 0? Is my remainder 0? No. So that means 1 did not work. At which point I have to abandon that and I have to attempt another value. So what would be a good one? Since I just tried 1, how about negative 1? Bring the 1 down, multiply. Negative 1, add negative 9. Multiply 9, add 20. Multiply negative 20. Add and you get a 0 for the remainder. So that tells me negative 1 worked. So that means the function is going to factor into x plus 1 times 1x squared minus 9x plus 20. Does that factor again? X plus 1. How do you get x squared? A trinomial many times factors into the product of two binomials. So x times x gives me x squared. What multiplies to 20 and adds to negative 9? Since a is a 1, I can put them right in. Would it be negative 4 and negative 5? They multiply to 20 and add to negative 9. So anyway, the zeros, if they want us to they want us to find all zeros. So I have to find what makes each of these factors 0. And what would it be? Negative 1, 4, and 5 would be your zeros here. This is example 2 in section 2.6. Okay, to find all possible real zeros, this is number 3 out of the assignment. They want you to list the possible rational zeros. What you do is you take your n term divided by the first coefficient, which I'm going to tell you I'm going to try to keep the leading coefficient of 1. So what is 28 over 1? 28. List all the factors of 28. 28 times 1 and their negatives. 14 times 2 and their negatives. 3 does not go into 28. 4 goes into 28. Well, how many times? What is it? 4 times 7, right? And negative 7, negative 4. 5 doesn't go into 28 evenly. 6 doesn't go into 28 evenly. 7 I'm already at. So, list all of these. The possible zeros would be positive, negative 28, 14, 7, 4, right? And 1, and sorry, I didn't get the 1 and the 2. And hopefully these are the answers they have for possible zeros. For number 4, I divide my last term, which is negative 10, divided by the leading coefficient, which is 1. Can you list all the factors of negative 10? Positive negative 10, positive negative 5, positive negative 2, positive and negative 1. If you can think of other numbers that multiply to give me 10, please let me know. Or negative 10 in this case. Okay, now that we know how to find possible zeros, now we're going to actually find the zeros. So in number 11, they want us to find all zeros. Pretty much list the factors of this. So what are the factors of negative 24? Well, 24 times 1. What else? Let's just write them out. 24 times 1, you got positives and negatives, right? What else? 12 times 2 is 24. Is 8 times 3 24? Does 4 go into 24? 6 times 4 is 24. 5, no. 6 I already have. So what are my possibilities? Positive, negative 24, positive, negative 12, positive or negative 8, positive or negative 6, positive, negative 4, positive, negative 3, positive, negative 2, positive, negative 1. Out of all of these possibilities, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, I think there's 16 possibilities. At most, how many are going to work? 3. So there's at most 3 zeros. So my odds of choosing the right one on the first go round are not really great. But if you listen to me, use the smaller ones. Those are ones that I think you'll find will almost always divide in one way or the other. So I'm going to bring down x to the 3, x to 2, x to 1, x to the 0. All powers represented in decreasing order, meaning I can bring down my coefficients and attempt some synthetic division. And I'm going to attempt it until I get my last number to be a 0, the remainder. So again, I told you to start small, so let's start with a 1. So if I was to put in a 1, bring the first number down, 1 times 1 is 1, put it here and add. Multiply gives me negative 11, add. Is that 24? Multiply 24. Did that give me the remainder of 0? So I found one of them on the first try. So right now I know that that means x minus 1. This means 1x squared. This is at a negative 11, isn't it? In the middle here. Negative 11x plus 24. I'm trying to find the zeros. So far, I only know one of them to be 1. I'm going to factor this trinomial. What multiplies to 24 but adds to negative 11? I think negative 8 and negative 3. Do they add to negative 11 and multiply to positive 24? Anyway, what makes each of these equal 0? So you would have 1, 8, and 3 as my actual zeros. Okay, like 11 is 14. They would like us to find the zeros. Remember, we're doing 11 to 17 all. So, I'm going to bring down the coefficients. Are they all represented? X to 3, X to 2, X to 1, X to 0. Yes. So I'm going to bring down my coefficients. Leave a space, draw a line, make a box. The number that goes in the box will be a factor of 72. You know that 1 goes into 72. You know that 2 goes into 72. What's 7 plus 2? 9. Is that evenly divisible by 3? So that means 3 goes into it. I don't know if you know that trick. You can add the digits. 2, 1, 6. Is that divisible by 3?
Yes.
Add the digits. 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 6 is 9. Is that divisible by 3? Yes, that means the whole thing's divisible by 3. Anyway, let's try the small numbers. 1, bring down the 1, multiply. Again, I'm looking for a remainder of 0. 1 times 1 is 1. I add these, I get 9. 1 times 9 is 9. I add these, I get 0. 1 times 0 is 0. I add those. I do not get 0, do I? So 1 does not work for 14. So I go back and I try other numbers. How about negative 1? Bring the 1 down, multiply. Negative 1. Add is 7. Multiply is negative 7. Add would be what? Negative 16. Multiply would be 16. That's not 0, is it, when I add? So positive negative 1 did not work. What do you want to try next?
2.
I agree. Let's try 2. And then negative 2. Bring down the 1, multiply. 2 times 1 is 2. Add, that's 10. 2 times 10 is 20. Add, I think that's 11, isn't it? Yes, 2 times 11 is 22, and that's not 0, is it? So now I'm going to try negative 2. You'll get this process down, the process of synthetic division, after you do enough of these. Bring the 1 down, multiply, negative 2. Add would be 6. Multiply is negative 12, I believe. Add is negative 21. Multiply is 42. When I add, that won't give me 0 either. So 1 and 2 I've exhausted. Now I move to 3. Bring down the first number. 3 times 1 is 3. Add, I think, is 11. Multiply is 33. And 33 plus a negative 9 is what? 24. And now 3 times 24 is 72. And that made my remainder 0. So I found one. So what that means is this factors into x minus 3, x squared plus 11x plus 24. I'm looking for zeros. I know one of them is 3. I'm looking for the other 2. How do I know there's 3 total? Well, it's the highest power. That means the maximum possible zeros. Anyway, what multiplies to 24 and adds to 11 would be 3 and 8, I think. So what makes each of these equal 0? That would be the zeros. So you get x equals 3, x equals negative 3, and x equals negative 8 for this answer. Okay, after 14 is, we're going to try 17. This is a 4th power. We want to find all the zeros. We look for factors of 8. What are the factors of 8? Well, positive negative 8. Positive negative 4, positive negative 2, positive negative 1. Out of these 2, 4, 6, 8 possible, how many might work? 4. 4 out of 8, that's better odds. I probably will get this one right faster, but you never know. Are all the powers represented in decreasing order? X to 4, X to 3, X to 2, X to 1, X to 0. They appear to be. So I can bring my coefficients down. 1, 2, negative 9, negative 2, 8. Leave a space, draw a line, make a box. What number we want to try? Well, we've been trying the small one, so let's stick with 1. Bring the 1 down. 1 times 1 is 1, and add 3. 1 times 3 I put here is 3. Add is negative 6. Multiply is negative 6. Add is negative 8. Multiply is negative 8. And I got my remainder to be 0 much faster. So at this point, what does this mean? This means that your f of x is going to equal x minus 1, x to the third plus 3x to the second minus 6x minus 8. Now I'm going to have to do it again to get it down to a quadratic that I could factor. Right now it's a cubic. So I'm going to do this one again. 1, 3, negative 6, negative 8. Again, factors of negative 8. We tried 1. Do you want to try negative 1? Do you think 1 again? What would you like to try? It's got to be factors of the last term, negative 8. So let's try negative 1. I don't know. Bring the 1 down. Multiply. Negative 1. Add 2. Multiply. Negative 2. Add negative 8. Multiply 8, add 0. So I found I've been pretty lucky so far. So now I have f of x equaling x minus 1. So one of the zeros is 1 times what? What's this one going to make it here? That's going to be x plus 1. And then this means 1x squared plus 2x minus 8. How would that factor? X minus 1, x plus 1. This here is going to factor somehow. And how would it factor? Factors a negative 8 that add to 2. Well, I think that would be 4 and negative 2. They multiply to negative 8 and they add to 2. What makes each of these 0 is going to be my zeros. So my zeros are 1, negative 1, negative 4, and 2. And that would be the answer for number 17.